Hi guys, I've got this page in my Pocket Page notebook today because I had this photo left over from Project Life and I didn't want to throw it away, so I figured I would do a real simple page. I grabbed a few things from my new in drawer. That's all the stuff that's come in and I haven't used yet. So I grabbed a paper pad, some alphas and some stickers, and I'm going to keep this page really simple. Just picked out one pattern paper and I kind of want to run like a strip of it with the photo up the page. Now of course 6x6 pads aren't big enough for a traveler's notebook, which can be kind of a pain, but there are ways of faking it. So I'm gonna split this page in half and hide it behind the photo, and you'll never know that it's not one strip of paper. So I'm just using the photo to measure the width of the paper. And then I'm just going to, you can split it anywhere really, I just split it here. And then the first thing I do is just stick down my photo, and I'm not going to stick it like directly in the middle of the page. I'm going to stick it more towards the top, I think. And then all I'm going to do is add these bits of pattern paper top and bottom, and you wouldn't even know that it wasn't one piece. Though I will say I do prefer those 6x8 pads where you can actually run it the whole way up the page. There's normally like a little white border, but I really do prefer those. I wish more companies, more collections had them. But now I've stuck those bits down, I'm just going to trim off the top and bottom just with my scissors, and then I have my strip running up the page. Now I did print these extra photos. I didn't want to have just one photo on the page, so I printed just some extra photos of Shane and Lily, and I can't remember what size these are. I did size them so that I could fit 4 of them up the page as well. I think they're like, I mean, don't quote me, I think they're like 1.5 inches to be able to fit up this page with a little bit of gap in between them. So I did actually measure with a ruler, you'll be surprised to know, and I just printed those out there just in black and white, because all of these photos were not the greatest quality, not great colors, not great quality, so hence the black and whiteness of all of those photos, which I think in the end sort of helps bring out the colors of the paper anyway, so that worked out nicely. And then for some embellishments on the right hand side, I decided just to fussy cut some of these flower clusters out of this pattern paper because it is so beautiful. I didn't want to waste that little strip. I really need some better scissors for fussy cutting. I don't fussy cut a lot, as you'll know, but these big ones, and they're not that sharp and they're not that great at like little tight corners, so I might have to get myself some better scissors if I'm going to carry on doing this fussy cutting. So here's my basic plan, and what I want to do is I want to put the title actually on the pocket page. So it'll end up being like a little flip insert with my title on it. I did just want to check that I'm going to be able to fit my whole title, because these alphas, although they're skinny, they've got all these little tails on them, so they take up quite a lot of room. So it was probably more room than I had wanted them to take up, but I sort of had thought where that bigger flower cluster was at the bottom, I could fit the title up from there, but I'm going to end up need to take up the whole room. And it was only at this point where I discovered that you could actually chop these tails off, because they're just puffy stickers. You know, it worked quite nicely to cut them down, so I managed to fit everything in a little bit neater once I realized you could trim them. So of course I don't want that word to cover up the little piece that I fussy cut, so I just moved that out the road, and it does end up fitting quite nicely, so I go ahead and stick that down. Now although the puffy stickers, I mean, they stick nicely to the pocket page, but it's not necessarily what I would call secure. They do peel off super easy, so I wasn't going to leave them there forever. So my plan was to run them through my sewing machine and stitch them down to make them more secure. But then I decided before I do that, I wanted to try just cutting a little bit of this page protector off. I don't need this much of a pocket page, so I probably should have done it to start off with, and it's made a little bit harder because my book is so fat, but I did manage to stick it into my paper trimmer and just trim off a little bit. So that way it makes it more of a little insert page. And then I ran it through my sewing machine, and boy did I have issues. If you've seen my Instagram stories, you'll know I destroyed my sewing machine doing this, and I'm not sure why, because they're not like difficult to sew through, but I snapped 3 needles and then ran out of needles. So I did manage to get it securely enough down, so that's all good, and now all I have to do is replace all my needles. Because I had stitched those letters down, it did stop the pocket flapping open, but what I had wanted to do was use these stickers to create a tab on the side. However, I didn't realize until I peeled them off that they were transparent. I thought they were just cardstock stickers, and they're not. So I've just used a little bit of scrap card, folded that over. Then I'm going to add my stickers on both sides, and then just use some double-sided tape. I'm using that red line tape because it's definitely much stronger than my usual double-sided tape, and just to create my own sort of tab. That way you realize that that little pocket page is there and can be lifted up. Just glued it down on one side, folded it over, and that's my little tab. And that's my page all done. I could definitely add journaling in here if I wanted to, but I think I'm gonna leave it simple this time. So there you go, pages in your pocket page notebook don't need to be super complicated, and this is one use I love them for, using up spare photos. If you enjoyed this page, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.